Eldrin, Dawnweaver, Veylume. Eldrin, Veylume, they called me Dawnweaver, though the dawn felt very far away. My days weren't filled with prophecies or gazing into the void, not precisely. They were filled with debugging. Line after line of code for Ethelgard, my passion project. A sprawling fantasy RPG, meant to capture the ache of longing, the thrill of discovery. Instead, it mostly captured bugs. I wanted to build worlds, to craft experiences that lingered in players' minds. But lately, all I felt was the slow, grinding weight of unfinished work. I'd been at it for years, pouring every waking moment, and most of my sleep, into Ethelgard. My small apartment overflowed with energy drink cans and scribbled notes. I wasn't seeking truth beyond the known world, I was trying to make a world. Then the publisher called. They'd seen a demo, and they wanted it. Not in a "let's talk about it" way. We need a gold master in 6 months way. That was the inciting incident, a deadline looming like a black hole. 6 months. It felt less like time and more like a rapidly closing trap. I dove deeper, fueled by caffeine and desperation. Every fix seemed to break something else. New features spawned 10 new bugs. My carefully planned systems crumbled under the weight of their own complexity. I started seeing the void, not in some mystical sense, but in the endless, featureless expanse of code. I'd worked for 72 hours straight, only to realize I'd introduced a memory leak that crashed the entire game. My friends tried to intervene, suggesting I scale back, simplify. But Ethelgard wasn't meant to be simple. It was my grand vision. I began to hear whispers, not from the void, but from my own exhaustion. Doubts gnawed at me. Was I chasing a phantom? Was I good enough? I started isolating myself, convinced that only I could fix it. The pressure mounted, the bugs multiplied, and I felt myself slipping further into a cycle of frantic work and crushing disappointment. Against all odds, I shipped it. Ethelgard was released. The initial reviews were glowing. Players praised the world building, the characters, the depth of the gameplay. It was everything I'd hoped for. I felt triumphant. Exhausted, but triumphant. I'd conquered the void, or so I thought. Within days, the complaints started trickling in. Then, a flood. Game-breaking bugs. Massive performance issues. Save file corruption. The game was riddled with problems, and worse, it was unstable. The glowing reviews turned to scathing criticism. Forums exploded with angry players. My publisher was furious. I'd delivered a broken masterpiece, a beautiful lie. It was the climax, a moment of apparent victory masking a catastrophic failure. The fallout was brutal. The publisher scrambled to issue patches, but each fix seemed to create new problems. My reputation was in tatters. The dream I'd nurtured for years had turned into a nightmare. I retreated, shutting myself off from the world, drowning in guilt and self-loathing. I tried to fix it, to salvage something from the wreckage, but the code had become a tangled mess, beyond my comprehension. I realized then that my obsession with perfection, my refusal to compromise, had been my undoing. I hadn't been building a world, I'd been building a prison. The void wasn't something to be gazed into, it was the emptiness left behind when ambition outstripped ability. The consequences were real, tangible, and crushing. I'd created something beautiful, then irrevocably broken it. It took months, but I started to rebuild, not Ethelgard, but myself. I started small, learning to let go, to accept imperfections. I took a job teaching game development, passing on what I'd learned, not just the technical skills, but the importance of balance, of collaboration, of knowing when to stop. I began working on a new project, a much smaller, more manageable game. It wasn't about grand visions or epic scope, it was about simple joy, about creating something fun and engaging. I learned to see the void not as an enemy, but as a space for new possibilities. The truth hidden beyond the known world wasn't some mystical revelation, but the understanding that failure is a part of creation. And sometimes, the most beautiful worlds are born from the ruins of the ones that fall apart. It wasn't the dawn I'd envisioned, but it was a new beginning.